I will never get over that. I'm not going to lie. I will never get over that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All Elite Dynamite Review Show hosted by your boy, the almighty Dycez-Man, a.k.a. the Z is silent, a.k.a. he is silent but elite, a.k.a. the apprentice of Thanos, a.k.a. the Shang Tsung of this wrestling debate. You come from me, your soul is mine, a.k.a. I ain't even got my belts, so I can't be big champ in the chat. But you know it is. Big champ in the chat, a.k.a. your mama's favorite daddy. And I am joined today with my guy, my co-host, my special guest, the executive consultant who doesn't have a lot of AKA, so he won't waste your time. But I'm all for wasting people's time.
Yeah, speaking of wasting time, you know what's it's important to note is that he claims I'm the special guest, right? The executive consultant. But underneath my name says Mike Knox.
Mike Knox? It does.
You know, I don't know about your yell. You know, I don't know about you have a special voice. All I know is I need to keep it a beat, right?
Keep it a bean.
Hashtag. I don't recall agreeing to this. I don't even know, like, you know.
There we go. All right, let me. All right.
And then go Mike Knox. I saw me for a second.
I gotta switch it out. I got it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the review show for All Elite Wrestling's Dynamite. For tonight, I thought it was a jam-packed show overall. We're gonna dive into it. But let me go ahead and switch this out because there we go. All right, there we go. Now we got something. Who is back? What are you doing here? Are you a special guest here? Do you want to come on? Ladies and gentlemen, we got another special guest. I didn't know he was popping up in here.
My guy just messaged me like 2 minutes.
What's up? I literally just messaged Chris. Like I could not.
He messaged me and then he hops on. Like
he didn't answer quick enough.
Because it's not just about me. So I got this soul.
What's up?
Well, the more the merrier. That's cool. Please give me your time for 50 minutes. That's all I ask for. 50 minutes in and out like a robbery. We're going to talk about tonight's show on AEW, which we got to see a plethora. I can't use plethora. Mike uses plethora. A smorgasbord. I can't use that neither. A slew. We had a slew of matches, a slew of action on AEW tonight. We had Orange Cassidy versus Bandito. We had Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie. We had Wardlow in a squash match versus who gives a hot damn. We had Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin. We had Dax Hardwood versus Jeff Jarrett. We heard from Adam Cole going up against the JAS in the main event, the Butcher and the Blade versus Kenny Omega and Koneski Takeshita. I hope I didn't. I hate his first name. I hate it. I hope I got it right. I doubt that I did because I'm a black man in America. What do you want me to do? We're gonna start off though with the opening match, which was Orange Cassidy versus Bandito. And you know what? Bandito has been he's been doing his thing in AEW, but he hasn't raked up the presence to be like he's respected. He's a respected opponent for anybody who steps in the ring with him, but for all intents and purposes, he's not ranked up a lot of wins. And I thought this was a different change of pace for somebody like an Orange Cassidy, in which we don't see Orange Cassidy going against a lot of guys like this. Bandito kind of reminds me of a Pac. But probably a little bit taller, a little bit stronger. Kind of the same move set, maybe a little bit more extravagant than Pac does, but I mean he's literally just Pac 2.0, with a little bit more notoriety on the indie scene, which is fine. I mean, but Charmaine she's tired of Orange Cassidy, but she's tired of everybody. I mean, she'd rather have Dolph Ziggler as a world champion in every federation. So, Orange Cassidy's character with the nonchalant attitude, I love it. I love it. And especially when we get somebody like Bandito who's a serious guy. He's a serious wrestler. He takes his craft very seriously. And it's like Orange Cassidy comes out. He's got the belt in a book bag, hands in his pocket, shades on. He doesn't give a hot shit. And he goes and he hangs with Bandito, which is a testament to what we think is a comedy act in Orange Cassidy, really he can go with just about anybody that's in that mid to upper mid card. I thought it was a good title defense, and then we see at the end that he got the show of respect from Bandito, where he handed him his belt, and Orange Cassidy just happened to have a fresh pair of glasses ready for Bandito, and they do the pose at the end. I thought that was pretty dope. I thought the match was good. Going with, because we like to do, well, I like to do this because I like to see what everybody else ranks this. Me personally, I give this match a B plus. I was about to say a C, but it's a B plus because I actually did enjoy it. Whereas Bleacher Report gives this a B. I'm going to start with Stefan. Stefan, I'm sorry. Where do you put this match at? What is your ranking on this?
I feel like I agree with everything you said. This match was a really great place to start the night off. And obviously, like Orange Cassidy, obviously people do not give him enough credit for being a good technical wrestler. And he is, to have a gimmick like he has and to perform the way he does without being injured and without injuring anybody else. Full credit to Orange Cassidy. Great international championship match. But I mean, it was great. I really enjoyed it. And, I think that, damn, I'm by myself out here. It was an enjoyable match. So I'm going to give it an A, actually. This was actually really fun, really enjoyable match between Bandito and Orange Cassidy. And I enjoyed the show of respect. It's pretty cool. Anybody else want to jump on here? I mean, I don't know, EC.
I mean, if you ask me my opinion, I'll tell you my opinion. And hey, here's where the hate comes in. Because I'm going to come and tell you how I feel about it, right? I'm a big fan of Orange Cassidy. Let's talk about the positive, right? I'm a big fan of Orange Cassidy. I think he's a great wrestler. He is such an impressive wrestler. He changed my mind about him because I always thought his gimmick was stupid. But then I actually paid attention. I'm like, wow, this man can go in the ring. I was rooting for him to win the AEW International Championship or wherever the hell they called it at first because so many damn titles nowadays I can't keep up.
Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic, International, Intercontinental, United States, North American, Plutonium. I don't know what it is. All I know is he's a champion. He carries it out in the bag, but the man is entertaining. So you start off AEW Dynamite with Orange Cassidy. And I'm like, okay, who's defending the title? Here comes Bandito. And I'm like, am I watching YouTube? Am I watching Dark? Am I watching Elevation? What's going on? I don't understand what I'm watching right now. I immediately lost where I was. And no longer did I think it was Wednesdays. I didn't think it was Wednesday. This is how you start off Dynamite. Bandito and Orange Cassidy might can put on a good match, but it doesn't belong. This is what AEW fails. This is where you fans fail, right? Because Orange Cassidy and Bandito are two amazing talents that can go in the ring. They proved it here tonight. However, Dynamite is your A show. Dynamite is the show that you want to get over $1 million because every time y'all don't get over $1 million, everybody clowns you online. I don't know why it's not that serious, but they clown you online. You're not going to get there with Orange Cassidy and Bandito as your opening match. That's my opinion. The match itself was okay. I will give it a C+ because C stands for Cassidy and Orange Cassidy was in the match.
It's wonderful.
C stands for Orange Cassidy.
The man can spell. So it's great.
I mean, what do you expect? After that, we go backstage and we see that Adam Cole was sitting with he's standing there with Renee, and he's discussing everything that we seen last week with the JAS and the handcuffing and the great value Randy Orton Triple H handcuff segment of AEW, which I think is probably the greatest segment that I've seen in AEW, even if they have ripped it off from the WWE. And of course, he's going to call out Jericho. Of course, Jericho, if you're going to show up, Jericho's a chicken shit heel. Why would he show up? So I thought that was a little bit too predictable. But what was even more predictable was the fact that Orange Cassidy and Bandito came backstage and they were like, oh, okay. And then Bandito does the same thing. Okay. And immediately I knew they'd be in the final segment of the night. Just for that, just because they're those good upstanding guys that, and I didn't like that because it was way too predictable for me personally. But I mean, that's a nitpick. That's neither here nor there. And the next match that we got, in which I personally think was the best match of the night. You got Jeff Jarrett, who can still go, and Dax Harwood, who's one of those old school guys. He's a hard hitter. He's a technical wrestler. He's a psychologist in the ring. And I am not a huge FTR fan. So for me to give him that type of props and credit, I think, I'm not saying that I'm any fucking body. What? It goes a long way as a guy who criticizes wrestling very deeply. I thought that this match had every single thing that you would want in a good technical wrestling match. You got a veteran, you got a guy who's established, and Jeff Jarrett can still go. I know he's getting a lot of criticism ever since he came back. Came to AEW, came back to professional wrestling as a wrestler. But with all old performers, they lose a step. But he still has that psychology. He can still get in your head. He can still play his character. And whether or not he has a belt on him, he can still make you feel like he is the king of the mountain. And that is the greatest Jeff Jarrett persona ever. Not the JEFF bull. No, not that was corny. No, the king of the mountain, Jeff Jarrett, is what made him even more famous in the late 2000s and even to today. But of course, Sanjay Dutt and the numbers games come, but where was Cash Wheeler? Where was Cash Wheeler? Because I didn't understand this at all. He just let his man get knifed with a pencil, and Jarrett gets the win. Overall, I just thought the reversals, the technicality, the suplexes, the hard hitting, I thought all of that was really good for this match. And for me, it was match of the night. And I don't even enjoy both of these guys on a level of must tune in to watch AEW. But for that type of match, the type of style that I like to watch when I'm watching wrestling, I thought it was chef's kiss for me. EC, what did you think about this match? He's laughing already. You're muted.
I know I'm laughing because, oh, wow. Steph, can you go first? I gotta get my thoughts.
Jesus. But thanks for putting me on the spot. I was so ready to copy and paste your homework right now and what you were about to say. But I definitely want to say that I can appreciate Jeff Jarrett, coming down and doing what he does, as only he can, at the age that he is. I think after a while, you got to let the young guys do it, but he's still got it. Just for a little while longer. I don't want to see Jeff Jarrett in 2 years freaking strutting down to a fucking ring. That's not happening for me. Jeff
Jarrett is 55. Sorry, Stefan.
Right. This is the last year. This is the last year with his 55-year-old ass that he needs to be coming out to the ring. We do not need another freaking Ric Flair retirement match of all time where you're retiring 18,000 times. Not happening. You said it yourself. Dax Harwood is an amazing hand in the ring. Obviously, we knew that since they're NXT days. I liked the match in terms of its technicality, in terms of the ring psychology. It was an amazing match. I hate Sanjay Dutt. I hate the rest of them. I feel like they were unnecessary. So I can't give this match of the night for me. I'm just going to say it's probably a B+ for me. But EC, go ahead.
Oh my God.
This is tough for me, right? Shout out to Dyce. Let's get this picture off, right? Shout out to Dyce because I need to look at Dyce when I say this, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's so simple. It's so simple. So simple. This guy right here used to be one of my favorite wrestlers in the 90s, right? That's what I grew up. One of my favorite wrestlers in the 90s.
We're around the same age. What are you talking about?
Doesn't matter. Stop being selfish. One of my favorite wrestlers. He was JEFF, JARRE, that double J, Jeff Jarrett.
I am the chosen one. He broke 6,000 guitars, never drew a dime that he thought.
That was a lot of guitars.
What? Where did he go?
Are you serious right now? Are you serious right now?
He wants to get a drink. He wants to get a drink. I guarantee you wants to get a drink.
But here's my thing.
Okay.
In 30, 40 years he's been wrestling, right? Because I don't believe he's 55, he's like 65. And in 30, 40 years he's been wrestling, right? He's never looked bad. I don't care what you said. In the 90s, in the 2000s, 2010s, in the 2020s, he's never looked
I'm intrigued.
bad at all.
I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued.
Even now.
The king of the mountain.
And I remember he was one of my favorite wrestlers. And then last year at SummerSlam, they said, there's going to be a special guest referee in Nashville, Tennessee out there. And I was disappointed when this music played. And I was disappointed to see Jeff Jarrett. And then the man came out with some guns and he was looking good. He was looking jacked up like, go, Jeff. You still are the king of the mountain. You still are JEFFJARRETT. And he struts, because I actually got the strut for him, not Ric Flair, to be honest with you. When he struts, he still looks like the freaking man, because that reaction he gets every time he's in that ring is genuinely real. He still elicits an emotion from all the Hammondagers that were in Sunrise, Florida, or Fort Lauderdale, wherever they want to say they were at, still was getting that crowd reaction. And every single week, he still gets that crowd reaction because he still is a draw. Now, does he draw money like a Roman Reigns, a Hulk Hogan, Austin? Hell no, he doesn't do that.
No.
Right? But he's still very good psychologically at what he does. And it's without Jeff Jarrett, and I need people to understand that. I think he needs to retire soon too. And I always say that when you retire, you should still retire while you are still capable of going in the ring, so we can remember that last image of you, as opposed, hear me, Ric Flair, the last image I saw when you had a figure four leg lock and you were just going to sleep. Because you couldn't sleep.
He was done.
Right?
He was
ironically,
done.
who was in that match, who he picked for that match also, was Jeff Jarrett, because Jeff Jarrett could still go and get that heel reaction. If it was not for Jeff Jarrett, TNA Impact Wrestling, if it was not for Jeff Jarrett, a lot of these wrestlers you all idolize now would not be around and would not be as famous as they are before getting to WWE, before getting to All Elite Wrestling. All I'm saying is,
that man's about to say All Elite Whackness.
I wasn't going to say All Elite Whackness. Respect.
I'm not going to let that one go, you see.
Respect the king of the mountain. And then there was some jabroni in there who's good in the ring and can go, but it's kind of boring. I think his name is Dax Hardwood. Hardwood. Yeah, that's his name. Dax Hardwood. Whatever. He whatever. He bores me. He puts me to sleep. Great in the ring. I've always said that. I've always liked FTR. The rival. Whatever you want to call
characters are
great
trash
in the ring. But when they get on the microphone, it's the same thing I say about NXT. I find this, if anybody watches it, okay, all two of you. When you are sitting there and you have a team called Gallus, who is very good in a ring, but have no charisma, that's where the problem is. You can't blame Vince McMahon for that, right? You have to blame the person. Charmaine, I've been doing this for years now. I've been doing it for 15 years. You can't say that. But I've been doing this for a little while now. And I really would appreciate if for one time you say something other than ding dong, you're wrong. Okay? All right? No, I don't want to hear ding dong. I don't want to see ding dong, you're wrong. Say something like, you're incorrect, Chris. You're incorrect. Right? Okay? Please.
Chris,
right?
stop. Just stop right now. I see what you're about to do. I see where this is going. I'm going to stop you right there.
All I'm saying, it's something new. Hey, we're here for the new TNT champion Warlow, who should go after the world title, but I want to be a mid-card champion.
This is so.
Some people love comfortability.
You know what? This is so beneath the character of Wardlow that they've built up. I mean, like, they gave him an unnamed opponent. They didn't even put the opponent's name on the screen. Nothing. Aren't you past trying to build Wardlow up? Why do you still need to continue? Like, they literally treated Wardlow like a Jade Cargill and given her a no-name opponent. They gave Wardlow a no-name opponent. He's already established. He's been with the company for 3 years. He's a 3-time TNT champion. but he can't get an opponent that has a name? Tony effing Khan. Coke boy, yeah, that's you. What you doing out here? What is this was wasted time that I had to watch because the Knicks game was finishing up. This was wasted time that I invested because I had to pay attention to this to talk about this on the show. This was wasted time because Arn Anderson was on my screen yet again. 3 instances of wasted time. 4, what I had more excitement in the dump that I took this morning. I had more excitement in the fact that Christian Cage came to save us with Luchasaurus. And you know what? Once again, that creepy little bastard Christian didn't say a damn thing on the microphone. And he got me more intrigued to see him next week than Wardlow and Arn Anderson. How is that possible? I will never know. EC, your thoughts on this weirdly constructed segment?
I think Wardlow is a talent. Talent that actually, in my opinion, belongs in WWE. But he is a talent in AEW right now, and has been hit a wall, and it's hard for him to climb over that wall. At first, I was a little sour on this because I didn't like how they did it last week, but I'm starting to think, thank you. I'm starting to think that Christian knows what he's doing. You know, it's something about the vets. It is something about the vets. They know how to draw you in. You admitted it yourself a couple seconds ago, Dyson, and I completely agree with you. Christian came out there. He's playing the long game. He's making you wait. He's making you want to see what that next step is going to be for this feud. What's that next step for Luchasaurus? What's that next step for Wardlow? The only person that doesn't belong is Arn Anderson. The whole time he was talking, I was waiting for him to pull a gun on Wardlow. That's a problem.
It's the best thing he's done. That's the best thing he's done in AEW. And the guy that he did it with,
he has it, but he has it backstage.
Back home.
He has it backstage. Not saying he doesn't have interview skills.
You're right. In the crowd, in front of the crowd, he's not good.
He doesn't have microphone skills. But in this day and age, he's not able to adapt properly to the Hammond Acres that are in Sunrise, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And for that reason alone, he's not fitting right. Now, yes, Wardlow probably needs a mouthpiece, but I'm pretty sure with the 150, because Warren Anderson said himself, why they have those many wrestlers, I have no idea. But with the 150 people they have there, somebody could be a better suited microphone piece for Wardlow than Arn Anderson. Besides that, the segment did what it needed to do, and that's set up for next week in the eventual collision between these two gigantic monsters.
Stefan, your thoughts on this?
I'm going to pin this comment here. And American Dream Real Estate, I want to thank you for this comment because it says MJF was his Paul Heyman and he went downhill after that feud. I completely agree with that. We talked about Wardlow being a yuck mouth in terms of talking. He has zero talking skills. He's not entertaining. He's horrible. And I don't want to shit on a professional wrestler who is uber more talented than I am. But at the same time, you play to your strengths in the wrestling business. And if you got a guy like Arn there that understands the old school way of talking and it's not entertaining now, you might want to put him with somebody that is entertaining. The person that realistic I would see Wardlow going after is an MJF. You know what I mean? I feel like that storyline, it has so much more to it. And I feel like the person who should defeat MJF realistically should be Wardlow. But they pulled him to the mid-card. They've done the same thing essentially that they were doing with Darby Allin. And at the time, Darby Allin was completely choosing to be TNT champion. He's like, I don't give a shit about the world title. I want to be the best TNT champion ever. Comfortability is everything. When you get comfortable, you're comfortable. You don't want to move. It's cool. But in terms of this young man, he belongs in the E. He's one person I could see making the perfect transition straight over to an NXT, going through that system, and then going straight to the main roster, or even going straight to the main roster. He does have star potential, but keep putting him in these BS feuds. Even Luchasaurus right now. I don't care about this match. I care more about
Luchasaurus had his chance. He had a chance in WWE.
Okay, look. I care more about Christian Cage than I do Luchasaurus. To be completely honest. it should be no mystery at this point to let people know that I watch promo battles. I love Christian Cage because he is an elite talker. He's one of the most overlooked talkers in the business. He's amazing. He's amazing. In AEW, thank you so much for the correction, EC. He's one of the best talkers. He's one of the best talkers.
I disagree.
I'm more entertained because of Christian Cage bigging up this segment than anything that Wardlow or Luchasaurus could ever do. And that's a problem because they're the actual ones that are engaging in this feud.
I disagree with that comment. I don't think MJF was his Paul Heyman because if you really pay attention to Paul Heyman's work with the CM Punk, with the Brock Lesnar, with the Roman Reigns, he's usually more like the sniveling person in the back as opposed to the one leading the charge and calling the shots. And MJF was calling the shots. I would actually attest more to a better version, in my opinion, of $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase and Virgil. That was what it more resembled.
I'm going to do you one further. I'm going to do you one further, and I'm going to say that MJF and Wardlow was a modern day version of Christian and Tomko.
That could be a little bit better, except for Tomko always acted like he was always down for what Christian did, where Wardlow was not. I have to take
this is true. Where they should have had Tomko break off away from Christian. They did not, and I think that stunted Tomko's growth as a singles competitor, and he always was known as Christian's lackey. Even the late stages of WWE, the stages of TNA when he showed up, they tried to have them feud together, but at that point, nobody gave a damn about Tomko. The only good thing about what AEW did is they broke Wardlow off immediately within the first 8 months of AEW's inception. That they broke Wardlow off because it was clear as day. When fans, we do say that, here sometimes that fans are stupid and they are fickle, and yes, we are. I'm a fan, you're a fan. We are fickle. We want what we want when we want it, and when we don't get it, we're going to cry. If my girl's right behind me, if I want some and I don't get it, I'm going to pout. If she doesn't get it, she's going to pout. It's going to be a problem. It's the same thing with wrestling. We're going to pout when we don't get it. But in Wardlow, I think that they got it right. They broke him off at the right time. The problem is, after they broke him off, they are literally in the misdirection of what to do with him at this point. And that is the problem with Wardlow. And it's sad because
I like that you brought up.
I don't know if he's read up on his contract. I'm not really up on that. But if he has or if he hasn't, WWE has a lot to look forward to. But then it's what do you let go? Because you've got a lot of big guys in WWE that could do what Wardlow does, and they're doing it already. Would I like to see a Wardlow versus Bobby Lashley? Sure. I mean, do I think it'll be entertaining? Yeah, but do I think it'll be believable that Wardlow would come over top? No. Braun Strowman, same thing. I don't think that Wardlow would be the one to be going over. Only because we know that if Vince has any type of say, in which we still think that he has some sort of say in anything, he's going to make sure that anybody that comes over from another corporation is going to get the ultimate burial before they can get the ultimate praise.
Take some L's.
It's very seldom that it does not happen. I think in the recent memory, it hasn't happened in guys like Drew McIntyre, guys like AJ Styles, guys like Bobby Lashley. Those three off the top of my head are the ones that, coming from another corporation that had a really big following, they didn't have to take big L's. They took meaningful L's. But if you take somebody like a Wardlow and try to put him in WWE system, I would probably bet my monthly salary that he would definitely make him pay his dues. And we're seeing it right now. Cody had to pay his dues that Monday after Mania because he had a sweet run for the past year. He had a sweet run. You got to come back at Mania. You beat one of the best workers in the business and Seth Rollins 3 times, and you didn't need to. And then you won the Royal Rumble.
You gotta take this again.
So
you know how Batman is. Whenever Batman starts beating somebody up and then turns around and goes, and you turn around and see Batman, he's gone. That's what you see for right now. Fucking
moving along to the next thing, we had which I thought was probably the most entertaining part of the night, which was the interaction between MJF and Sammy Guevara, in which I'm a fan of this, but I'm not a fan of this. When I say this, because the same thing that MJF did with Chris Jericho when Jericho invited him into the inner circle, we're seeing the exact same thing with Sammy Guevara outside of the inner circle, right? Like, he's befriending him. He's playing this niche of he has a good friend in Sammy Guevara. And it's the same exact thing before we got MJF versus Jericho. And I just think that that's lazy booking. It's lazy storyline planning by WWE. I don't agree with that aspect of the 4 pillars, but I do think that it brings an interesting dynamic, because we can all see the time bomb. We can all see the time on the time bomb counting down, that Sammy's not going to stand for what's going on with MJF. And he knows that, taking a paycheck from MJF is a downgrade to the style and the integrity that he has as a performer. So it's literally just a wait and see type thing. And I think it's going to blow up in Sammy's face and MJF's face, and Darby is going to be able to take an advantage of it, but I don't think that he's going to win the title, which is the problem. But I don't disagree with it, because MJF hasn't had as many I don't think he's had as many meaningful title defenses yet for them to justify him AEW giving him the title, which may be the problem. At this point in time, for me, this initial run of MJF being the AEW World Heavyweight Champion, I am not satisfied at all. I think it's just as lackluster as Adam Page. And that could be debatable.
No.
Again, for me, the best thing about MJF is the fact that he can talk on the microphone. I could give a good dog damn if you could talk on the microphone. I don't need you to talk on the microphone. Bobby Lashley can barely talk on the microphone, but he's probably the top 1 or 2 reasons why I tune into Monday Night Raw. So I don't need you to be able to talk on the microphone and rip circles around your opponent or the rest of the roster. I don't need that. For me, what I like in my professional wrestling, what I like to see what you could do in that ring. And MJF, I saw clips today that popped up between the exchange with him and Bryan Danielson that they had their match at Evolution. And maybe I wasn't paying attention to it enough, but MJF did show some really good technical wrestling skills. And that's what I want to see in my champion and what I like to see in pro wrestling. And I think outside of all of those 4 pillars, I think Sammy Guevara has a total package outside of anybody else. I think that MJF will come a close second, but the fact that his mic skills is what gets him over on social media and the IWC is what's going to put him over all of those other 3 pillars every single time. EC, your thoughts on this exchange between these 2?
I mean, it's more the same as cat and mouse. I mean, at first when I was watching this, I was like, oh, okay, when we get to this segment, I'm going to put up a few people going to sleep. But then Darby got smart, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's not bad. My problem with this segment is, and I see what you're saying when you talk about MJF's world title reign. Now, I don't think it's as bad as Adam Hangman Page. I think Adam Hangman Page was really bad. But except for people seeing Punk. But I do believe that right now, especially, I hate talking about this sometimes because I feel like such a villain, which I am. I feel like such a bad guy, which I am. I feel like such a hater, which I'm not. But it feels mid-card to me. I think the kids nowadays say the word mid. But now we're talking about wrestling. It's mid-card to me, and it shouldn't be. This is your world championship. Could you imagine your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, in a feud like this? I can't. And I am going to give Roman Reigns a little bit of credit because I was watching one of his matches the other day, and I said one of the good things about Roman Reigns and his world title, despite everybody talking about it, MJF does the same thing. Despite the fact he doesn't defend the title as much, that's why they have the new world title and everything like that. All of his world title matches feel
That's 3 years. That's 3 years. They deserve to have a new title at this point in time. It's 3 years. MJF is they're only in 3 years in AEW. The time that AEW was in its inception, Roman Reigns was just hitting the surface of the head of the table, which then transformed into the tribal chief. Like, that is unprecedented. You can't even begin to begin to compare MJF's reign to Roman Reigns's. I would personally, I would definitely put the Thanos of what everything else outside of WWE in that time and Kenny Omega. That man had like 4 or 5 belts at the same time. He was doing exactly what Roman was doing on the other side of the spectrum.
I wouldn't say that. He wasn't doing exactly what
I would say, okay, look.
I mean, he had a mouthpiece in Don Callis, who was his Paul Heyman. He was smashing through everybody convincingly. Yeah. He was going to other federations and doing the same thing and then coming with their belts on TV. That's the only difference.
Can you do me a favor? Can you say WWE one more time? Like, could y'all say WWE on this AEW show one more time? I'm doing that as a double thing. I'm doing it as a FU, Mike. Don't text me that bullshit again. And then doing it also saying that he does have a point. So we're going to get off of this WWE point. Stefan, what are your thoughts?
No, I mean, I definitely think that, everything you guys said is great.
I'm going to tell Mike how to run this show.
This is definitely it's below Max at this point. And I hate it. I hate the fact that I feel like I'm not watching World Title Feud. I'm not watching a world champion defend a title. I feel like, chicken shit heel, great, wonderful. But at the same time, this match, I mean, you have a huge event coming up at Wembley Stadium. Who are you going to have Max versus Wembley? You know what I mean? And I'm worried about that more because you want to sell out Wembley. This is another one.
None of these guys sell it out outside of MJF. I mean, none of them.
Here's my thing. In terms of Tony Khan betting on AEW to sell out at least partial 30,000 seats at Wembley, you need to have big matches on the card. You have to have things to get people in asses and seats. I mean, this feud has a lot of great personalities in it. Do I really believe anybody but Sammy Guevara could actually take that world title from MJF or Darby Allin? No. But at the end of the day, it sucks. It really sucks to see because it's like Max, like you said, EC, he's a great, as you said, Z, he's a great talker. Fucking amazing talker. Talk circles around a person. But it's what you do in the ring too. Roman Reigns, we mentioned Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns matches are big feel, incredible matches. I don't care what you say. Even if the Usos get involved, you can't tell me that you sit through a Roman Reigns match and you're dissatisfied at the quality of the match that it actually is. Even the Cody match, incredible match, big match feel. That's what this should feel like. It feels like we're playing the mid card and it's horrible, it's terrible, and I simply don't care about it. Honestly, I want to get to the point where it's all 4 pillars. Do that match, get it over with. Let's move on with MJF. I mean, even if you put Roman in a scenario where Jon Moxley comes back to WWE and Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus Jon Moxley, that match would probably be way better and a way better build than this crap. So don't want to be a hater, but it's been done before in WWE. It was way better in WWE.
Let's be clear.
Let's
be clear. I had to use the bathroom. I'm sorry. I had to use the bathroom. I had to.
You took the bathroom.
Waited.
You heard my comments.
You could have waited.
No, I heard.
So Stefan was done because we have to run
you.
a commercial break anyway. So you
I
might
heard. Oh man, I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait. I've been holding that thing since we started at 10, 12. I'm good.
My gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to run a quick commercial. We'll be back. Find out what's some of the stuff we talk about here on UPR. Stay with us. You're watching Unpopular Review.
They're bitter. We talked about last week about 2 bitter old men, and Bret Hart, and he had something else to say again. Wrestling's pathetic for him now, but man, the things that people have to say about things, whether it's good or bad, I want to talk about. So on his podcast a few weeks ago, friend of the program, 3,000 plus episodes, guys. I've interviewed him several times. Okay. Me, this is my version of professional wrestling and storytelling. Y'all know Bad Bunny's showing up, right? Tonight, right? I just hope, he got on, something to protect himself from somebody's, hand going up his ass, right? And it made me start thinking, because this may be my AEW pointing things again, how they're not building storylines for me. They're so confusing over in AEW that the greatness that can be there is not coming. This isn't the new NXT that's just straight ass. Sorry if you like NXT. I could not get into it at all. I just can't. It's like I'm watching Glow all over again. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. That's really how I feel when I watch NXT. It's like I'm back in 1987.
It's
this is the time that you take a break. It's during Mike's freaking segments. It's like 5 minutes. You had enough time to fucking go on a break.
Listen, I heard everything that you were saying. I heard everything that you were saying. And what I wanted to say to you about the 4 pillars is, technically the 4 pillars aren't. Jungle Boy is not a pillar. It's Britt Baker. But they can't put Britt Baker.
Thank you, CM Punk. Thank you, CM Punk.
That's the problem. They can't put Britt Baker in a man's match. So that's why they put Jungle Boy in there. That's all I'm saying. Like that's not
a YouTube fan saying my comments was shit to you.
He's saying
a joke to you.
He's saying that's why he went to the bathroom, because your comment was shit. So you have to use his own.
Literally, you see Mike's freaking video is like 20 minutes long.
He cut it down. I asked him to cut it down. He cut it down.
It was an hour last week.
I thought I had a long commercial.
Nobody's gonna have a commercial longer than Mike. Mike is
no.
Mike,
I thought I had a long commercial.
Mike, watch him every single Monday. Stuff. Hold on. Mike Knox, you watch him every single Monday, 6:00 p.m. Perfect Plex Radio. Mike Knox show right here on UPR Wrestling. Let's get to the next segment though, because we still have a lot to talk about. Next segment is we'll hear from Adam Cole.
We're actually almost to the end. Honestly, this was I thought this compared to last week's segment, right? Mm-hmm. I thought it was very underwhelming to have this follow-up. Mm-hmm. We knew, like I said earlier in the show, I didn't think that Jericho was going to be the one to come down there. It's JAS all day, you know that, mm-hmm. right? And he calls out Jericho. Jericho says that he's not going to come down, sends the JAS down. And Adam Cole, of course, he pridefully is going to try to fight 4-on-1. And we get Roderick Strong making his AEW debut. How is it that Roderick Strong got a bigger pop than Jay Switchblade White? Did you notice that? The crowd went ape shit for Roderick freaking Strong.
I want to challenge you. Did they go ape shit for Roderick Strong because he's Roderick Strong? Or did they go ape shit because, hey, we now have a possibility of having the entire Undisputed Era in all elite?
They don't have Bobby Fish, though. They don't have Bobby Fish. Bobby Fish is gone.
Let's be real. If they want
Kyle O'Reilly's contract expired as well.
If they want them back, Adam Cole could convince them to come back. Tony Khan will open up the purse strings because he don't give a crap about money. That must be nice. Speaking of crap is the theme of the night because you went to the bathroom. But I think if he wants them back, he can get them back. And I think the fans know that, all 2,000 people that were there. And I think that they can get the Undisputed Era back. And I think that's what they're actually cheering for. Not necessarily because of Roderick Strong, because nobody cheers for Roderick Strong like that. Phenomenal talent. Don't get me wrong. Phenomenal talent is one Roderick Strong. But nobody's really cheering for him like that.
Define your thoughts.
I want the whole screen. I feel like because Z walked away from me, I want the entire screen. I want to be the captain right now. I need you to give me the entire screen. Put me up on that whole entire screen so I can talk about this segment. I want to feel I want to feel important. I want to feel appreciated. Nah, all jokes aside, I thought this was by the numbers segment pretty much. The stave in Roderick Strong coming was a surprise, and I think there was a comment online that said, "Yo, how did this not slip when everything else in wrestling slips? Like nobody knew he was going to show up tonight." And obviously, I do agree with Chris. I do agree that it was more of a pop for Undisputed Era because they were screaming Undisputed. And that was something that you heard in the crowd. So I don't think it was for Roddy by himself. Amazing talent, amazing superstar, like literally definitely one of those overlooked superstars that can go in the ring. But by himself, I'll be honest, like Roddy doesn't pop like that. But if you're in the ring with Adam Cole, baby, like he said it before, all you got to do is ring the goddamn bell. He's the man. And then you got Undisputed Era potential. Like, come on. Like, obviously I'm going to cheer. I'm a huge Undisputed Era fan. I think like me and Chris back in our heyday did an Undisputed Era opening, something like that. So that is how deep that runs. But they are possibly one of the best groups to actually come out of NXT. So I definitely think that if Tony Khan wanted to open his wallet, he could get them all back. But this pop was more so for that potential. And even the hug moment, it was like undisputed. Like, come on, guys. Like, let's be honest.
The problem.
There's only two factions came out in NXT that actually were popular. That's Undisputed Era as well as Imperium.
Exactly. Imperium's fire. Fire. Yo, you say fuck. I don't even. Don't get me started on Ludwig, man. Don't get me started.
Ludwig is that guy.
I'm not getting
Ludwig is that guy.
He really is. Yo, do you imagine having a brother that grabs your jacket when you take it off and just spins it, rolls it up?
Sooner or later, Stefan's going to let me hear what the problem is.
The problem.
Here we go.
With trying to do Undisputed Era or Undisputed Elite in AEW is the problem is it's not WWE. It's not Triple H. The problem is Tony Khan is trying to suck his talent's dicks and give them whatever they want to do instead of not telling his talent what they need to do to get over. That is the problem with Tony Khan. That has always been my problem with Tony Khan. He gives his guys too much creative control and they don't know what to do with it. Yes, you, Tony. You. Don't look around. You. That is the problem. You want to know? We all know this. There's 20 NWO documentaries in the world. And every single person says the downfall of the NWO was what? When Nash and Hogan started to get creative control of the NWO and the wins and losses in the company. Therefore, it is now null and void. I feel like if you put a group like Undisputed Era or Undisputed Elite in AEW and try to make them what they were in NXT, it's null and void. It's null and void only because you got a guy like Triple H that is molding them and telling them why you need to be this way, why your character needs to be this way, and what, depending on how you perform it, the outcome will be this. Now we can go ahead and go forward with this plan. Please tell me what faction has, outside of any Chris Jericho faction, has thrived under Tony Khan? There hasn't been one. Maybe BCC, but they had the guidance of
BCC
William Regal, who is a what? WWE guy.
At the same time, it really was floundering for a while. It just started to pick up, actually, which is surprising because he thought it was going to die after William Regal. But I feel like it's hit its peak now. It's doing well, and that's only because John Moxley stopped talking. He just goes out there and does shit.
And they let Bryan Danielson do it. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Daniel Bryan does all the talking now, even though we'll talk about that in the main segment. What fell flat on that one. There she is. There she is.
No, I'm sorry. Moving on. Now, I was on the Xbox party and I was talking to Mike about this. And I am not going to lie to you. I was this made my balls itch. Babe, I'm sorry that you had to hear that. This made my balls itch.
No apologies to us, though.
I don't have anything, but I'm just saying this was cringeworthy to me. I have literally, okay, if we're talking about great, we're going to talk about great streaks in professional wrestling. There's Jade Cargill, there's Asuka, there's Goldberg. Jade is obviously at the bottom of the totem pole.
How dare you?
Asuka has faced formidable opponents. Formidable opponents. Could you please tell me 3 formidable opponents that Jade Cargill has faced?
Sure.
Please.
Ruby Riott.
Okay, good. Keep going.
Riho. First,
You're a lie.
his balls itch, and now
Are you kidding me?
You're a lie. You're a damn lie, EC.
What's wrong?
Rio.
Yeah, and Nyla Rose.
Nyla
You hitting that shit that RVD be hitting, huh?
I don't know what you're
You're
talking
in the
about.
I gotta regain my chakras right now.
I'd expect a comment like that from you.
I gotta regain my chakras right now. Like I literally gotta do my Naruto. Like, what
You asked me a question, I answered it.
You're right. I asked you a question and you answered perfectly. The problem is your answer came out of a donkey's ass. Now,
It was wrong. It's okay to be wrong.
Riho looks like a 12-year-old that got a permit to wrestle in America.
What was your question? I can dispute this right now. What was your question?
3 formidable
Rio
opponents.
is a former AEW Women's World Champion. Nyla Rose, a former AEW Women's World Champion. That makes them formidable automatically.
No,
Not Ruby Soho.
Right, with
Ruby
Rio.
Soho is not, but Ruby Soho is a part of the Outsiders.
She's a runaway, bro. She's a runaway. She's
Right.
nothing. Fugazi. And Riho, I'm sorry. Just because Kenny Omega likes you doesn't make you world champion. I'm sorry. She did
Well, she is a
nothing
world
as world champion. She was terrible. I'm sorry. Not even gonna lie. Anybody who disputes that is literally an idiot. She is the worst AEW champion. The
That
worst.
is not
Bar
true.
none.
Nobody
The
was checking for Red Velvet or Kiera Hogan, no matter how
Absolutely
much
nobody.
Impact Wrestling liked them.
Nobody cares about the
I
both.
forgot all about Red Velvet.
The
Or
only
even if you want to put in homegirl who was part of the Beautiful People, nobody was checking for her either.
I will say
So-
the only
What was
formidable
that?
person she faced is Chris Statlander.
Not
And
Velvet
when
Sky,
she
the other
comes
one.
back, when she comes
It
back,
starts with a T.
huh?
Not Angelina Love, the other one, the third one that he put in, the back half.
She
of the
wasn't
Beautiful People.
quality. She wasn't quality. We can't remember her name. Look, stir it up.
All
Red
I want to
Velvet
say
is
is,
one of Chris's
listen,
crushes, but she's married, so he has a thing for married women. It's okay.
She's not. Stephanie Cardona is not married. Her engagement was broken off, but she did just announce it last month. She has a boyfriend.
Oh, last month you in there. You went there. Look at you checking your phone right now. Make sure the
Yes.
information is accurate.
Announced she had a boyfriend. She announced it on Facebook. It broke my heart. Almost as much as Samantha Irvin getting engaged to Ricochet broke my heart. Almost as much, but
He
not
said
as
his
much.
name in French. Ricochet.
I'm
You
sorry.
heard what
I'm
he
sorry.
said? Ricochet.
I'm sorry. The last person of the Beautiful People was Madison Rain, and they made her a coach. Yes, thank you, Madison Rain. Yeah, they tried to make her a formidable opponent. That's
Oh, you know what? Madison
outside,
Rain was good too.
outside of those are the formidable opponents that you're talking about. Jade Cargill faced.
That's not true. I got more for you.
Statlander.
Please.
I got more for you.
Chris, did she beat Chris Statlander? Because
Then she faced. We were talking about Roderick Strong. Didn't he beat her? His wife.
She wasn't good in NXT. She's not good in AEW. She's not
Who's
going to
his
be
wife?
good anywhere.
Marina
She
Shafir. You shut your mouth.
Marina
Stefan.
Shafir
She's
she didn't even get a chance to even shine in NXT. So
And
she's
not
a
only- but she's better in
non-MF
AEW.
factor.
And not only did
She
beat
was.
her,
She's not been
somebody
on
else
TV
she
in
beat-
2 months.
Somebody else she beat is.
Bitch, shut up before I kick you in the face again. Nobody gives a damn about that karate shit.
Okay, I can agree with that. But she wasn't formidable. She wasn't
My
formidable.
definition of formidable is out of line and out of control.
Tay
I know
Conti does
everybody
not
agrees
get
with
looked for, bro.
Jay
She's not getting looked
Cargill. Understand, listen to me very
Todd
carefully.
Conti did have a good following. She did have a good following until she got with Sammy Guevara. She had a good following.
I'm gonna make this very, very.
No. I gotta stop you. I'm sorry, EC. I gotta stop you, Stefan. You are absolutely out of your mind. If you
I
want to
am
go back
not,
to
bro.
last January, that tag team match that she had, her and Anna Jay versus Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter, that bloodbath solidified all 4 of those women. as pillars of the women division. The
What if she
problem
does-
is,
okay.
hold up. The problem is Tony Khan has got Britt Baker's titty in his mouth, and he gave her everything that she wanted. And if her best friend, Tony, you did it. Yeah, Tony. And if Britt Baker says she wants her best friend and Jamie Hayter to get a following like she does, who's going to stop? Like that match was critically acclaimed. It was probably one of the best match, if not the best women's match, maybe top 3 of that past year. And you're saying, what do you mean?
I'm gonna say this, brother. I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
What has she been doing lately?
The problem, I'm glad.
Greatest TBS champion of all time. Nobody can dispute it.
She's the only TBS champion of
You're
all
missing
time.
my point.
Okay,
She is the greatest TBS champion of all
I'm
time.
sorry.
No one else can say it. No one else can say it. You can make an argument Kenny Omega was the greatest AEW world champion. You can make an argument that Roman Reigns is the greatest world heavyweight champion of all time. But you cannot make an argument that Jade Cargill is not the greatest women's TBS champion in the history of all elite wrestling. I rest my case and I drop my pen. I will drop the microphone, but it's expensive.
That's only because Chris Statlander ain't came out yet.
EC, it's like saying you're the best executive consultant because you're the only executive consultant.
I am the best executive consultant.
It does not make you the best at all.
Well, ask Chavo Guerrero, because he's surely trying to steal my gimmick. He went to Tony Khan, and Tony Khan looked on an unpopular review. They found me, and he said, "I got something for you."
Nah, that never happened. That's cap.
I will say, back to this match. Jade Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie. Nobody's checking for Taya Valkyrie. She's 40. She's not on the level of any other 40-year-old veteran that we've seen in like a Mickie James, a Lita, a Trish Stratus. She's not on that level. Nobody's checking for her, and this was underwhelming. The problem that I had with this match, right? I seen some good spots in Jade Cargill, and I cannot, and I've been one of the biggest critics of Jade Cargill. Beautiful woman, body like a Greek statue.
Great.
The problem is I can see when she is counting her steps and waiting for something to happen. As much as you may have an infatuation with putting your tongue in this woman's butt,
I don't,
Chris.
You need to ask Chris.
There has to be something. There has to be something bad that you see with this woman's wrestling skills inside the ring, and is the simple fact that she is counting.
No, she's not. She's counting the seconds until I take a flight to where she lives, so can she become the next ex-Mrs. Harris? What does your boy say? What does your boy say every single time? Charlotte Flair. Well, guess what? Jade Cargill.
Oh God,
that man is delusional. Man's is delusional. First and foremost, literally the end of this match was terrible. It was terrible. And this match was terrible. I don't give a what you say. She could be the future ex-Miss Harris, whatever. The end of this match was terrible. She looked for a spot. Literally, the roll-up was terrible.
She was looking for me.
The roll-up is what did it. The roll-up. If she did not do that roll-up, the roll-up was terrible.
It was terrible. She looked at Taya Valkyrie. Taya was like, "Where the hell are you? This is our spot. This is the moment."
I rolled better once at 13 than she did in that ring.
Chris, come on, bro.
I can't take this anymore. We have another spot going on here.
EC, come on, bro.
He don't want to hear. He don't want to hear. He don't want to believe it. That's the problem.
When you let somebody talk about your woman,
he don't want to believe. He don't want to believe.
Who got a woman? Not me.
He don't want to believe. Me? Listen, that's not. First of all, Jade Cargill isn't your woman. You got to get it through your head, brother.
I'm about to text her right now because I know this.
You should probably.
Tell her to get some wrestling lessons.
You should probably.
NXT. Tell her to go to Performance Center. She needs to do something. It's terrible.
I want her to go to Performance Center because that's right down the street.
First and foremost,
going into the last match, the main event of the night.
Hold on, we have to run one last commercial break.
Another commercial break.
Yeah,
it's gonna be Mike. I promise it's gonna be Mike again.
Y'all told a 50-minute show and you've been running 2 commercial breaks. This is why it's an hour now.
Stay on stage with us. You're watching a popular review. This is a great. Hey, you know what? I'll tell you this. Spoiler alert: these 2 commercials are better than this shit.
Yeah! I love being a turtle!
Our family grows. The city itself will be our playground to use as we please, rewarding ourselves and punishing our enemies.
We've been looking for you, Miss O'Neill.
There is a new enemy, freaks of nature. Together, we will punish these creatures.
What the heck was that?
Looked like sort of a big turtle in a trench coat.
I know how to increase your cash flow.
Have you lost your damn mind?
Willing to pay $10,000 each. Sold.
Knocking up a bunch of lesbians? That's some freaky shit.
You are a cash cow.
What's this I hear about you making babies?
I'm gonna do it. Go ahead, make me a baby.
Whoa. She hate me. She hate me. She doesn't feel that way about you, though, man. She told me so.
The exact way Jade Cargill feels about him. She hates him.
I know.
She feels.
Well, Z is silent hosting this show along with the executive consultant. Special guest today just popped him out of nowhere like he's a turtle.
Hey, hold up, Jeffrey. I am so listen. Every time I'm on the show and you come in and comment, I'm always giving you the shout out. And the show is first of all, wait. The show, those shows might be terrible. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just reiterating off his point. But this one is not. Don't say that. That's just cruel. Like what would you say?
Dynamite is terrible. I completely agree. And
Okay.
AEW Dynamite is terrible because they make decisions like this. The Butcher and the Blade, who should main event not even my high school gym, versus Kenny Omega versus Take a Shit. Before you
have your favorite wrestler.
Jeff, you didn't have to clarify. I knew.
The Butcher and the Blade are one of the best old school type. How could you not like them? How could you like if you're gonna give FTR that respect and they're old school guys? The Butcher and the Blade is everything that you would want in a tag team as far as old school hard hitting.
My point is, I think AEW has a lot of great talent. I think they have some interesting talent. I think they have some people that can go in the ring. My point is, not everybody is a star, and not everybody should main event or be your opener. And this is two people I don't believe should be in your main event. This is not a main event match. This is on the top of our one match.
I get that. I think that this is more about Kenny Omega,
correct,
and Takeshita than anything else. Which
but
I
should
like
be
that.
people. It should be people who are established main eventers in your AEW Dynamite main event. Otherwise, in that you lose interest. I would have even put.
I agree.
Even though I called them mid earlier, I would have even put the little 4-pillar thing crap that they had going on. I would have put that over there. I would have even put my baby Jade Cargill in the main event. Almost any match.
Nobody's putting her in the main event. Stop it.
No one's looking at the main event. Then it's
I'm sorry. What show? I'm sorry. What channel is Dynamite on?
TNT.
No, it's on TBS. Mofo.
I mean TBS.
Who is your TBS champion? Who is the greatest TBS champion of all time?
Jade Cargill is the TBS champion, and she's only appeared on TBS at like 3 times. She's always on TNT on Friday nights because nobody gives a good dog damn about when she comes on the screen other than look at her ass.
I give it that. Chris, that's what you're looking for too. You can't lie.
But yet, that man below me will sit here and he will chastise women like not him. No. He would chastise women like a Liv Morgan. He would chastise a Liv Morgan all day. He would chastise a Raquel Gonzalez all day. I'm sorry, Rodriguez all day. And then sit up here and Jade Cargill is the future Mrs. Chris Harris. Get out of here. What are you talking about? What are you talking about right now? No, that's not what we're doing over here. No, that's not what we're doing right now. No, you're not going to sit up here and shit on everybody else in wrestling as far as
taking a shit.
Sit up there. Take a shit.
Takeshita, guys.
I know what it is.
Terrible.
I know. But you know what? That was a good play on
words. You can call potato all you want. We know what it says, okay? Because that's what I did during this main event. And I mean, you know what? I'll keep it a B. Yeah, I say that joke every week.
Keep it a
B, right? That's exactly what I was doing, right? If you don't believe me, ask Dice. Because I walked my ass back here to the studio at 10:08. You know why? Because I was taking a shitter. That's what I was doing. That is a shoot, ladies and gentlemen. That is a real story. That is a real story. I was taking a shit.
That's terrible.
You know, there was this meme. I said this before. There's this meme going around. Vince came back to WWE, right? Because he saw Triple H bringing back all these people. Bronson Reed got hired back. He said, enough of this shit. Enough is enough, right? I was watching AEW Dynamite. And the Butcher and the Blade came out. And I said, enough is enough. It's time for a change. I went right to that damn bathroom, right? I went to the bathroom quicker than Dice did when Stephon was talking. It was...
No, don't do that. Don't do that, Chris. Don't do that. Don't do that. You see the shit that you're doing.
We gotta talk about the match.
I'm never coming on Wednesday night again. My voice is not appreciated.
We know what it's pronounced. We just don't give a good dog damn. That's the problem.
You know what? It's just so funny to me that I would say I changed my mind. Y'all changed my mind. I said this match did belong in the main event. It definitely did because it's the perfect time to take a shit. So I thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this for me. It was, you know what? To prove it even more, when I sat here when we were backstage studio, Dice saw me probably grab my remote and do like this because I was fast. It's like, what happened? I need to catch up. That's a true story. But hey, let's talk about the match.
The match is, you know what? The match was pretty acceptable. For what AEW likes to do as far as action and just high flying, hard hitting, I think that this was right up their alley. The problem is the story didn't have anything to do with the main event. I shouldn't have to watch a main event and wait till it's over with to see the story that the person is involved with later on. Right. And that's the difference between even a Impact Wrestling. They will still include somebody on the other side of that main event that has some sort of ties to the initial problem that Kenny Omega has, and which is the BCC. They did not do this. The Butcher and the Blade caught the shit end of this main event, right? Because they had nothing to do with any of this. They don't have any ties to the BCC. They have no ties to Kenny Omega and Takeshita. Like, they have nothing to do with this. So I thought that was a little bit mind-blowing. However, I did not think it was a bad main event because, one, I am a fan of the old school Butcher and the Blade. I've been a fan of them since I've seen them when in AEW's inception. Damn, I've been using that word all day today. Inception of AEW. And for me, I thought it was good, but had they had a part in the feud with Kenny Omega or the BCC, whichever one, I thought it would have made a lot more sense. However, the Kip Sabian ingratiating himself in this match and making his presence known, I thought that was pretty I thought that was pretty cool. But the ending is what really made this great, with the Bucks making the save for the beatdown, and then Bryan Danielson trying to recruit Takeshita and manipulating him to stopping the attack. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that was pretty dope. Like, but I think that Danielson has been a gold mine ever since he's come back, because like me and Mike said, we thought that he would not be for this heel shit that the BCC is doing. And he came in and he starts going off like he's the new Daniel Bryan on SmackDown Live. You know what I'm saying? Like and I thought that was great. So he picked up right where that heel character left off, and he's been expanding on it every single week. Amateurs, and like, it's great. So for me, this main event gets an A. However, it is still not the match of the night for me. I'm still going with Jeff Jarrett and Dax Hardwood. Stephon, your thoughts on this match, brother?
Man, fuck the match, okay? Let's say that first and foremost. I didn't give what do you say? A god dog damn about
good dog damn.
A good dog damn. I didn't care give a shit Literally, shit is the word of the night. Once again, leaves again. You see this bullshit? Literally did not give a shit about this match. I cared for what was happening after. You saw BCC in the interim in the middle of the show. Yo, we're coming out for blood at the end of the match. You know they were coming out at the end of the night. I think literally you didn't have to do all this, back and forth. You could have just went straight to that segment. You had to do something to get us there, I guess, and you basically wasted a really good matchup on two people that are just going to be on Rampage or on Dark next week. Kip Sabian, nobody's looking for him at this point. No one cares about him. I do not care. And the guy with the pink hair's name is Kip Sabian. That literally proves that nobody's looking for him anymore. That's it. So for me,
best thing about Kip Sabian is his girlfriend.
Exactly. Penelope Ford is fire. That's a woman I could get behind. Literally get behind. Anyway, moving on. All I'm going to say is I like Danny Bryan's character. I love his character. He's incredible. He is such a wonder on the mic at this point, and I like where they're going with this. I hope that they hold off until Wembley to do the finish of this match. Like maybe have a match leading up to this. I think they can stretch it to Wembley, but possibly the next pay-per-view, they're probably going to do this blow-off match with the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite, and that's going to be fire too. I'm glad the Young Bucks are back, but at the end of the day, Takeshita, I don't see what this actually did for him. He's laid out, bleeding from the head to end off the show, and it's just like, damn. This shouldn't have been the last segment. It was literally, it did nothing for him. Literally, he looked stupid. If anything, this segment made Takeshita look stupid as hell. Dumb as hell. Manipulated by freaking one Daniel Bryan, and then you get pretty much knifed by Jon Moxley. So everybody's been complaining the IWC about Jon Moxley bleeding. He made somebody else bleed. You're welcome. You got what you wanted. He's not bleeding anymore.
EC, your thoughts on this?
It was fine. Like I said, it doesn't belong the main event segment. I was a little let down by the ending. I mean, I always like seeing Daniel Bryan. I think the BCC is really good. However, at the same time, it's kind of predictable. Daniel Bryan came out and said, wow, when it was about to happen, and it happened exactly that. So it was like a little anticlimactic, but I mean, it was okay. Like I said, I like Dan Bryan. I like the BCC. I think this is going to lead up to what do they call it, a Stampede match or a Stadium match or
Stadium
something like
Stampede.
That. Yeah, they're going to have that probably double or nothing. That's how you stretch it a little bit more. I mean, it's getting where it needs to go, but it's a simple storyline. Hold up, I want to read some comments though. I bet Homicide might come to AEW and beat Bryan Danielson.
Homicide,
like Homicide versus Bryan Danielson. That is such a terrible idea. Let me see. Jeffrey, don't do that. I disagree with Chris. I agree with Z. Chris, stop dreaming. Chris,
Charmaine,
don't do that.
I love you. Let's go on a date.
Get a new glasses. Glasses. Okay, I'll get a new glasses.
Your one of your haze is rubbing off. It just says A.
That's true. It is time. My birthday's coming up. These are birthday things. But you know what? I look at this, right? I get these glasses so you don't see how my eyes are. Look how stupid some of your comments are. But anyway.
And listen. I want to thank all of you guys.
That's a shoot, guys. That's a shoot, ladies and gentlemen.
I want to thank all of you guys for tuning in. I had a ball, as always. Thank you guys for tuning in. I know this is a new normal from what you guys are used to seeing for the AEW Dynamite Review Show. For myself, Stefan, I'm sorry. I keep calling you Stefan. God damn it. Stefan Urkel. I don't know. I'm just, either way, I'm just going to call you either one. It just rolls off, whatever. The Executive Consultant, thank you as well, my brother, for coming through. And as always, I have to sign off in the words of Shannon Sharp. Yeah, I like chicken. Yeah, I like they don't like you. Tell them you don't give a good dog damn, all because almighty Dycez-Man said so. And as always, keep drinking and rest in peace to my guy, Delaware's own for the sky, boy. Y'all have a good night. We'll check y'all next week. Make sure y'all check out top 5 tomorrow. I'm sorry, not top 5. The draft special that we have going on tomorrow, predicting everything that's going on Friday's draft and Monday's draft. I am the Dycez-Man. That is EC. That is Stefan. We will catch you guys later. See ya.